All right, guys, we're gonna do a real quick little gun review here over a little pistol I've had for actually a little while now. But I never thought to really talk about it much because it's really small and diminutive, and I just don't really give it a whole lot of thought. And I honestly don't shoot it that often. But there's a little bit of history with me in this gun, so we'll just go over it real quick. So this is my Walther P22. I think it's like second gen because it has the different grip texture here. There's a first gen that has a different grip texture that looks more like the, if you can see the little dots here on the laser. The Gen 1s had a grip texture roughly similar to that. So this is a later gen version. But as you can see, I've got it all tricked out here with admittedly not a real can. I got a fake can for like, I think it's like 30 bucks or something like that. I think it's made by Pike Arms Inc. And it's a little fake suppressor that you can put on your guns like this just to make it look cool and give it a little bit of muzzle weight towards the front. And I just got it because it was cool. And I don't have a real 22 suppressor just yet, but I'm probably gonna get one here pretty soon. Yeah, so this is my little Walther P22. And the whole reason why I got this is because I really liked how small it was. Like this is a tiny gun. Also, the ergonomics are classic Walther, so they fit great in the hand. Even for how small it is, this thing fits awesome in the hand. It's just, man, it's just a really comfy gun. Paddle style magazine release, and it looked kind of like a PPQ-ish. Like Walther has kind of like the same-ish kind of rounded slide design with the front slide serrations here and the kind of I don't even know what you call it, but like little banana type texture right there. All the little squiggles look like little bananas. So they've kind of gone forward with that as their general design, I guess, aesthetic. So I really liked how it looked. Direct blowback gun, nothing special about that. It's really small, but it also had a threaded barrel and adjustable sights. So I was like, sweet, awesome. And it's also really cheap. I think I bought this for like 200 bucks, 225 maybe at the most, at like a big box store, like a Sportsman's Warehouse, I think is where I got this at. And the main reason why I got this, though, despite all the great features and how great this gun is, I got it because Walther USA is a sponsor of the political show Steven Crowder. You may have heard of him, you may have not. But Steven Crowder is a political commentator slash comedian type who, makes political commentary. So throughout his show, which I've watched on occasion, I find him pretty funny, is throughout his show he'll have little ads here and there. And Walther actually is one of the only gun companies I've seen that has openly sponsored a political commentator, at least with that much fervor and that much support, like open support. They're not trying to hide it. They're not trying to be like, oh, we kind of support him, or we kind of support him in the back room. No, they're just like straight up front and center. Yeah, we support Steven Crowder. So always really good to see gun companies do that, to actually come out and support what I believe to be, conservative slash right leaning media, if you will. Right, because that's definitely something that is sorely lacking in today's political climate. But that's a story for a different day. I'm not gonna talk about that here. But anyway, that's the main reason why I wanted to get it, is because I wanted to support Walther for supporting Steven Crowder. So I thought, man, let me pick up this little thing, sure, because I really didn't feel a need for their flagship PPQ line at the time, because I already have an HK VP9 and a million other different striker-fired polymer frame 9mm. So I didn't really feel like I needed yet another one. But this one was pretty interesting as a 22. I love 22s, man. I don't care what anyone says. 22s are just fun. And they're really nice to get new shooters into the scene as well, because it's a low recoiling round, but it's still, quote unquote, a real cartridge, right? So it's not like an air gun, So yeah, that was my main reason for getting this. But over the years, as I've owned this thing and shot it and everything, I thought, man, I'm just gonna trick it out a little bit. So I blacked out the sights here. So normally it's a 3-dot arrangement, but I found that the sights just have too much air between the front sight and the rear sight here, there's just a little too much air for me to like it. I like target sights that are all perfectly filled in, so there's no air gap, nothing, so it just looks like a big black bar if it's lined up perfectly. That's what I like. I don't really care for 3-dot arrangement all that much. I really don't. So I blacked out the sights on this, and it works a little bit better for me. Unfortunately, also these guns come with a magazine disconnect. So normally, if you have these guns, if the magazine is out like it is here, you're unable to pull the trigger. Well, I went inside of this thing, and all this is so inside the polymer shell here, there is a I think it's aluminum fire control mechanism, basically all inside this housing here. So I punched out the pins and took the whole thing out, and I found the little springs that are responsible for the magazine disconnect and just took them out. Because I hate magazine disconnects, absolutely hate them. I think they negatively affect trigger pull, and it's also an unnecessary feature because I am a safe and responsible individual when it comes to handling my firearms. So I feel like having that kind of backup safety mechanism is unnecessary and unwarranted. So I got rid of it, and now this thing will function without a magazine in it. I'm not going to dry fire here because this is a 22 rimfire, and you don't really want to dry fire those. So just take my word on it that it is in fact removed. But anyway, so I did that to it, and later eventually I bought this fake can. It's literally just a hunk of I don't know, steel, aluminum. I don't know what it is really. It's just big and it's heavy, and it threads onto the barrel here. And then finally, just recently, I got this laser module because the weird thing is with, actually, I'm not going to take it off here. It's a little bit difficult. But so these P22s usually come with a small pick rail right here. The problem is pretty much no normal size like attachments that you would normally put on other pistols can actually fit on this because it's just so dang like short. It's tiny. You can maybe fit like one of those Olight Mini version 2s or whatever that have like the sliding rail or whatever. You might be able to fit one of those on here, but for the most part, most accessories will not be able to fit on this pick rail. But Walther does make their own, or at least they say they make their own little laser module for this, and that's what I got for this on sale at CDNN of all places. CDNN actually is great. Check them out. But yeah, got this thing for like 50 bucks and slapped that thing on there, and man, this thing just looks freaking cool, right? Like, man, it's just this little 10-shot 22, 10+1. It's got the sights and everything. It's got the can, and when I get a real can for it, it's going to be even more fun. Got the little laser module, you can see right there, it's turned on and everything. Oh man, it's just cool, The practical purpose is almost nothing, but other than a really fun plinker, but still, I've actually gone hiking with this. I loaded it up with like the 22 like little CCI like what do you call it? Oh gosh, I'm blanking. The snake shot, like the silver colored bullets that have the polymer round dome tip and a whole bunch of little shot pellets in there. I've actually carried this while I'm hiking because it doesn't weigh anything and it's super tiny, so really good for that kind of thing. Loaded up with snake shot just in case, and a reserve mag with like mini mag hollow points just in case there was a little bit bigger critter that I needed to take out. But yeah. So it does have practical use, it really does. But mostly it's a plinker for me, and just kind of just a cool gun, It's just so much fun to shoot. So how does it shoot? So this being a relatively small gun and a short sight radius, it's not the most accurate thing in the world, at least for me. The trigger is acceptable. I wouldn't call it exceptional, but I wouldn't call it bad either. The double action is a little bit heavy, and it feels a little stagey, not all that great. It's definitely not the best double action trigger I've fired, but it is serviceable. The single action is also decent. Like I said, I wouldn't say it's the best thing ever. It's not like 1911 style or even like a CZ75 single action. It's not that good. But for what you're intending to do with this, which is mostly plinking and messing around, it's perfectly acceptable. There's nothing wrong with this trigger. So accuracy-wise, I don't really take this out to 25 yards very often because like I said, with this sight picture having a whole bunch of air, you know, you can kind of see right there, maybe a little bit right there. Yeah, there's a ton of air in the sight picture, and it being a short sight radius and a pretty short barrel, it makes this very difficult to fire at 25 yards with any kind of accuracy. But I know at 15 yards, I'm roughly able to get around 2.5 inch groups with this thing, just standing offhand. So it's accurate enough, you know. Whatever you're going to go be plinking at with, you know, reasonable distances with this thing, you're going to be able to hit, hopefully, you know, depending on your skill. But man, yeah, reliability, I've had absolutely no issues with this thing. The only thing that I've had issues with is maybe some of the lower velocity stuff. So like the subsonic stuff, yeah, a lot of the subsonic rounds. Some of the standard velocity rounds also are not 100% reliable in this, unless I put a compensator up on the front, like a tandem cross compensator type on the front here. But just running it clean, normal, with nothing else on it, standard velocity does not always work 100% in this gun. So usually you want to stick with the higher velocity stuff, you know, which it also says in the manual. So, you know, it's not said often enough, but please read your gun manuals. It might just help you. So yeah, reliability is as to be expected for this type of 22 pistol, especially with such a short action. Perfectly acceptable. No complaints here. So yeah, accuracy was good. Trigger pull's good. Reliability is, you know, to be expected, decent. Nothing exceptional, nothing bad. So all around, this thing is just perfectly acceptable and cool for what it is. I am really fond of it, and a lot of new shooters, younger shooters, and smaller statured women really like this gun because Walther ergonomics are just freaking amazing. This gun just fits so well in the hand. It is just an absolute pleasure, and it's smaller. So even though I have, you know, kind of longish fingers and big hands, you know, a Glock 40 is perfectly sized for me. I can still get my mitts around this and not feel like it's too small. Not like an LCP2 from Ruger that is just like my hand is just, you know, over the whole thing. This one actually feels just fine. So I would say this is definitely like a competitor to like the Ruger SR22, or maybe the M&P, Smith & Wesson M&P 22 pistol version, right? And you know, similar pistols in that vein. Also, with an attractive price point, these things typically tend to be much cheaper than like all the other options I just mentioned. So, and obviously it's also got that threaded barrel in the typical Walther design here. It's got basically got a shroud that goes over this tiny little pencil barrel on the inside here. Barrel shroud, and then it has the nut here up in the front that you can use the supplied wrench. Thanks, Walther, for supplying a wrench. Taurus did not do that. Naughty. To remove this front cap here, and you can buy an adapter. Taurus did supply an adapter though, so good on them, but they didn't supply a wrench, so bad on them. Walther, on the other hand, supplies a wrench and not an adapter, so, you know, pick your poison, right? So you can thread this off, and then you can buy the adapter from Walther or other third-party sources, put that thing on here, and now you have a 1/2x28 thread, standard 422 and 9mm, to put your favorite muzzle device and or can on this kind of pistol. So yeah, this thing is just a ton of fun. It was pretty cheap, and it's been working very well for me, and I have no complaints, except magazine disconnect and not supplying the adapter for the threaded barrel, but very minor complaints because I am a stickler for those kinds of things. But anyway, so yeah, this thing is all tricked out. I freaking love it, and for those who are really wanting like an even more special version, I know they make a longer target size version of this, which has like a 5-inch barrel or something. Like you can just they make them from the factory, but I know at one point they also made kits for these things that kind of had an extension that went out here to have like a big old muzzle device and everything, and it was, you know, the target model, so it was like a 5-inch barrel, and it was kind of cool looking. I've not been able to find one of those. I would like to have one. But right now, I think this is a perfectly acceptable, perfectly cool, little setup here. And then once I get an actual 22 suppressor, man, this thing is just going to be so freaking quiet and so cool to shoot. It's just going to be a ton of fun. These things are just fun, man. And always remember, the first rule of firearm safety is to have fun, right? So those who get that joke will understand completely where I'm coming from. For those who don't understand and don't get the joke, I'm kidding. Okay, don't take it too seriously. But anyway, yeah, this thing is awesome. I love it, and comes in at a good price point, or at least it did before Corona hit, right, and the big gun apocalypse happened. So if you're looking for a nice little 22 plinker and you don't necessarily mind the size of it, I guess, and you're looking for some good ergonomics and just all around decent, fun little gun to shoot, this thing is definitely something I would consider. So yeah, support Walther. Walther makes really great guns, great products. I've had no issues with Walther before, either Walther USA or Walther Europe. Great stuff, and they also support Steven Crowder. So cool, good on them. So a gun company with balls to actually come out and support a conservative right-wing guy, right? So definitely don't see that anymore these days because cancel culture, right? But like I said, that's topic for a whole other video, whole other day. But yeah, really happy with this, and just figured I would share that with you guys. So anyway, that's the review for the Walther P22, and yeah, we'll see you next time.